Hey everybody, it's Cyborg, and I'm joined by Temp, and we are covering the entire Injustice series one day at a time, one issue at a time. And we are on Injustice Year 2, issue number 12, so it's the final issue of the year, so if you have not tuned in yet, go back to the start of Year 1, start from there, and build all the way up to here. Trust me, it is worth it. So let's go ahead and tackle this issue, number 12. Got my notes pulled up, and okay. So, we see Canary, and she is talking to Superman. Let me get the comic pulled back up, just for a refresher. Okay. So we kind of pick back up with Canary laying there in a heap of her own blood, and she essentially says to Superman, you know what? You lose. She explains to him that she has, in her contacts, a recording device that's streaming to the world right now. And it's showing everybody the real Superman and just the type of person he is, that he is not a savior, so that they'll see the truth. And she's crying, she's bleeding all over the place. It's very sad, but very powerful, and I absolutely love Black Canary here. Like, she has been so strong in this comic. It is. Her ranking in terms of like where I had her before this comic series happened, where just not even on my radar, to now where she's definitely up there for me. Great writing can do that for a character, and here she's very strong. Very cool.
Yeah, and at first I was rooting for him. I was like, "Oh, this is brilliant." We'll get to that.
Yeah. It ends up as we're getting to it very quickly, but so we see what's kind of going on. Superman then flies away, lets her be there. He starts going off, killing Green Lanterns left and right in space, and he just starts taunting Ganthet. This is what you wanted? Look how many people are dying. Do you even... It even monologues in his mind. Do you... Or maybe even says it out loud. He says, do Guardians care at all? He's just like... how delusional he is. But yeah. Anyways. Then we just see what an awful, awful shame. This really bothered me. But we see Sinestro. Stewart! What are you doing? I don't... And yeah, he grabs Stewart's hand. He's trying to kind of get him to see the light, so to speak, the yellow light, not so green. And he says, he tries to convince him that the Guardians don't care about you. And meanwhile, like I said, he's holding him. And he says for Stewart to close his eyes, because we need you on our side. He tells him just to think. And while Stewart has his eyes closed, all of a sudden, shink, right through his chest. We see a yellow kind of spear stabbing going right through his chest. And Stewart kind of faints off, so to speak. And he says, Sinestro says, you know what? You're still going to help us after all. And he carries him over to Jordan really quickly, and he yells out for Hal to come see him. And he essentially frames this murder on Guy Gardner. He says Guy Gardner's the one that did this to you, or did this to him. He was trying to, fight for both sides, or John Stewart was trying to fight for both sides, and Guy Gardner attacked him and did this to him. Please, you got to, rush him off to safety. Just abandon this right now. But, I mean, obviously it is what it is at this point. John's dead. He's just got stabbed through the heart. There's no hope for him. And he dies in Hal's arms. So the ring comes off of...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
The ring
I'm
comes...
laughing at Sinestro, by the way, but go on, yeah.
No, I know. The ring comes off of his finger, and yeah, John Stewart is no more. And Hal Jordan, he works Hal Jordan up into a fury. Sinestro is such a fucking asshole. Like, he is... This is what I wrote. Sinestro kills John and frames Guy. What a total prick. So Hal Jordan goes off, finds Guy Gardner, and this next part is just equally as shitty. Hal Jordan engages Guy Gardner and just starts fighting him. He doesn't want to hear anything. He just starts yelling at him, you brought them here, you did this. And then Guy Gardner is just trying to defend himself. Man has a freaking broken arm and he's bleeding. And he's just trying to talk some sense into Hal. And here's the saddest part. This is what Guy Gardner's words were to Hal. He says, Hal, please, I'm not going to fight you. And then meanwhile, Sinestro's playing cheerleader in the background, just telling Hal, egging him on, kill him, kill him. And then he says, Hal, don't listen to him, man. He will... And then Sinestro fires back. He will take what is yours, your world, your loved ones. Guy Gardner says, this isn't you. This is the ring. Fight it. Sinestro, do it. Then Guy Gardner once again says, Hal, you can still be the best of us. And he looks at him with a straight face. Hal, without saying a word, just a grunt in anger, rips off Guy Gardner's arm that has his ring on it, and then Guy Gardner, flip-flops, Hawaiian shirt and all, falls down to the planet or the moon or wherever they're near Earth. I can't really tell. And he's dead. And I wrote in my notes, fuck Hal Jordan. Love Guy's flip-flops and Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, well, that's the hardest part of this, because when you see who Guy Gardner was behind the ring, you really think about who Hal just killed. He may have killed the most innocent and pure heart of them all. Like, among all the Lanterns, this guy really wanted to do this was just a Joe, incorruptible.
He's usually the brash and kind of the jerky one of the Lanterns, but in this one, he was the exact opposite. He was the one that was the most clear and we don't know Kyle, but where he was going to be. But yeah, Guy was the most level-headed, clear-minded person, and just trying to keep the peace in here. And yeah, he paid for it. So.
Yeah, man. When you see those fucking socks and sandals, you really think like this is the one guy who didn't deserve to die. Like this
yeah.
Oh man, it's rough.
And this is that point where Hal reached the point of no return. You cannot come back from this. You just killed your fellow, your bud, your comrade, whatever. He just murdered his friend cold-blooded because in a fit of rage, all for the wrong reasons. I mean, granted, Sinestro's largely at fault, but the blood's on Hal's hands regardless. So.
Well, this is where it gets gray, because it's questionable. Was the ring affecting his mind at all when this happened? It sounds like it was based off what Guy said, but I'm not 100% how that works.
It's a little bit of A, a little bit of B. The ring definitely played its factor, but Hal clearly is in a bad way right now. Mindset.
This was a long path he took to get to this point. Like this, even if the ring was at fault, this didn't just happen overnight. There was a lot of bad decisions up to this point.
Yes. So it's just sad. I mean, honestly, it's just sad. Where we started off with this year, we started off with Hal talking to Black Canary at Ollie's funeral, and just like he didn't seem even remorseful at the idea. So he is already in that mindset where he's just so brainwashed, or whatever you want to call it, by Superman's ideals, that he didn't even seem like it fazed him that much that Ollie was killed. And here we are now. He just murdered his own friend. So, anyways, and then we jump to the next chapter, and Batman sees what's going on with the whole broadcasting Superman, and he says to shut it down. And Barbara's saying, I thought we want people to see this, but no, Batman explains why this needs to be shut down, because he's going to become so powerful with billions fearing him. I mean, they get their power off of fear, so this was a horrible idea in hindsight. I mean, Black Canary had the best intentions and everything, but they did not obviously foresee the whole Yellow Lantern aspect coming into play.
It's a very reasonable, even for Batman. Like I get why he did not see this contingency. But,
this was one thing he did not plan on, and he just wanted to expose Superman for what he was. But now that he's getting powered by fear, it obviously backfired in a major, major way. So Batman calls for a full retreat, wants everybody to pull back because they are not going to win this fight, not with Superman as powerful as he is and with things going the way that they are. Black Canary's down, Guy Gardner's down. It's over. We see Zatanna and Dr. Fate with Connor. It sucks that they kept two of the most powerful people that they have guarding the baby. I mean, it's clearly he has another plan in mind, but it does suck that is the case. So he doesn't think he can win this anymore. Then we see the big showdown between Superman and Ganthet, and Ganthet says he's basically Superman. He needs to stop Superman right now. He goes to do so. Superman is that powerful, and he's unstoppable at this point. It just brushes it off. Nothing. Doesn't even faze him. Grabs Ganthet by the throat, flies him through space, flies him right into Mogo, and just right through the center of Mogo, and carries both Ganthet and Mogo right into the sun. And that's the end of it. That's the end of both Mogo. That's the end of Ganthet, obviously, or at least we can assume so. I don't think they can survive the sun, but we don't really know. But that's what we're led to believe. And Sinestro's reveling in it. He's said it's done. Hal said, "What have we done?" And then Sinestro says, "What we set out to do. We saved the world." Just further planting those seeds. And that's the end of the chapter, but we do get an epilogue here. It's worth mentioning, of course. Black Canary's laying there in a pool of blood. As far as we know, she's dead. Dr. Fate appears, teleports in, takes off his helmet, says, "Fuck Fate," teleports her away to just a cabin somewhere. We're not really sure. We hear a baby crying. She asks, "Where am I?" Dr. Fate explains, "You are in another place, another universe, another Earth. You were fated to die. I intervened." And he explains that she's in a different world as we see Ollie walk in with the baby. It's Ollie holding Connor, and Dr. Fate basically explains, "You're in a different Earth. One where Ollie's still alive, but he lost Black Canary years ago, 5 years ago. They don't know each other, but I mean, it's the same kind of, it is Ollie. It's just a different Ollie, of course." And he basically says, "Here, enjoy yourselves, get to know each other, live a happy life. Just forget about the other Earth. I've already broken the rules this far, and I'm off. You two have sacrificed enough." And that's where we kind of end it, is Ollie and Black Canary introducing themselves, and he ends by saying, "Hello, pretty bird," with that smiling grin that we know Ollie to have, and that's where we leave off for the year.
I'm kind of mixed on that ending.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, before we even get to that, Mogo, man, that sucked.
We knew something like that was going to happen, but yeah, all of that sucked. I hated everything about that. Not in a way like I hated the comic. I just hated. I mean, you're supposed to hate. Yeah, you're supposed to hate Superman at this point. You're supposed to hate Sinestro. You're supposed to even hate Hal at this point, because what they're doing is just so. You can't take these things back, and yeah, it is just getting disgusting. Like, it's hard. Some of these are hard to read because you fall in love with these characters, and you really enjoy the characterization of these characters, and just to see them. Like, I mean, we saw Jon Stewart just dismantled before he ever, like we just talked about last issue. We really wanted to see more from Jon Stewart because he kind of never really had his limelight so far, and there he goes. Just murdered right there, and then blamed on Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner, we explained how great he's been, and boom, he's taken out of the picture. So, crappy day.
Poetic, though. I mean, even though I was disappointed that Jon Stewart, had to exit stage left at this point, it shows the consequences of neutrality and inaction in something like this. It's if he had actually taken a side, how things could have been different. Because even if he sided with Superman, Sinestro might have not have been able to use his death against Hal. So
yeah,
it makes you think. But
there's a lot of domino factors of if this didn't happen, then other things certainly might not have happened. But yeah, so I agree with you. I'm on that whole aspect. Before we get to the epilogue part and cover that, I'm with you on that. It's Mogo, Ganthet. May you rest in peace. Good souls. You fought the good fight. You did. I mean, they took out so many yellow lanterns. They did what they could.
No, the blaze of glory.
So many spikes and sharp teeth are gone now, for the better. And yeah, it sucks losing what we lost in this issue, and then getting to the epilogue. Obviously, we explained what happened, but just thoughts. I'm mixed on this as well. I'm not even sure what to think right now. Like, as far as we know, this is Black Canary's exit from the comics. So that's good and bad. Bad because I love the character at this point. I really do appreciate what she's done. So it kind of sucks if this is the last thing she does in the Injustice comics, at least before Injustice 2 comics come out. I'm sure we'll see more from her. But as far as now goes, yeah, this... it's good for her, like character wise. It's great that she gets another Ollie, so to speak, and the Ollie that's probably had a rough time himself is getting another Black Canary.
I
But
don't know about that. I feel weird about this, to be honest with you.
I feel uncomfortable. I feel
Yeah.
icky.
Well, I know we try to keep these short, so I'm going to try to give the most compressed explanation I can. But in philosophy, when we're going over ontology, which is the study of being, we do briefly go over multiverse theory. And the idea is if there's another universe and there's another you, to what extent is it you?
Yeah.
And the conclusion was that even if something has all your qualities, it still isn't you. There's still two of you. So if you have a Coke can and you put another Coke can next to it, and you down to the atom, you qualitatively make it exactly like the other Coke can. Let's say they occupy the same space.
Right.
It's still two Coke cans. So that's not really, that's Ollie B, and that's Black Canary A.
No, I know.
And Black Canary B died, and Ollie B is a widow. And it's kind of gross to me, to be honest with you.
It is weird.
It,
it's like a clone of somebody, you know. It's
yeah. Well, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. I'm mixed on it too. I don't necessarily love it. I don't hate it. I see what they're trying to do. It's basically their best way of giving a happy ending to the characters that we really loved. Going like from Ollie and Black Canary were some of the best characters in the series thus far. So in our minds, we're trying to basically, this is their way of saying, hey, in some form or fashion, even though it's not the way we want, these characters are getting a happy ending. But I agree with you. It's not as cut and dry as that. It's not as simple as that, and it's not the same. It does give a feeling of like this feels off, but I don't know.
I mean, as a comic book writer, this was a smart way to pull Canary out of the story without having to develop so many characters. Because they can only write so many characters in. And in year 3, we're going to have to bring in some new blood, so this was a good way to do it.
Yeah, I'm also glad she didn't die here. Because if she would have taken out Superman and their plan would have worked in showing who Superman really is, then that would have been a fitting way for her to die. Like, she got her revenge. She, did what she did for Ollie. She did what she said she was going to do. But the fact that it backfired so hard, that would have left a very bad taste in your mouth, or whatever you want to call it, because she would have failed, basically. And not only would it have failed, it would have completely turned on its head because of the way what Superman became. So if she would have died right there, that would have honestly been really depressing, more so than anything.
Yeah.
So this is at least something. But I agree with you. It's not as simple as like everybody lives. I mean, Ollie's still dead. The Ollie she knows is still brutally murdered by Superman, and I don't know. It's weird.
It also gives us 3 Green Arrows now. So, but I guess to put a positive spin on it, I really felt like this final chapter did not feel contrived at all. Superman becoming so powerful that he destroyed the Guardians and destroyed Ganthet, and Mobo's his name, right?
Mogo. I know.
Mogo.
I always mix it up too.
It's
Mobo
rough.
or Mogo. Yeah.
It felt very logical. It felt really well set up when he got the ring, and now he was unstoppable because of all the fears. Everything was really well written, in my opinion.
It's a hell of a payoff, honestly. The whole how everything built up to this point, incredible payoff. I think Hal getting the ring, like a couple issues before, was a great way to really kind of set that up and just be like, oh my god, I can't believe they went that far. But Superman, of all people, man, that was... And like you said, the way it explained how Superman could defeat Ganthet and everything, and just how the whole plan... You see the logic in their plan, and it seems like a foolproof plan. Like, it really does. But then when it took that direction, everything just completely went 180. So yeah, it's pretty well told. And I really am curious what the fallout is. Because I would imagine from here, they're probably going to jump ahead another... Because they got to obviously make it the next year, because they're doing years leading up to the game. So I imagine we're going to get another time jump. I wonder where they go from here. Like, what's their next plan of attack? I'm definitely left curious what happens next. So for that reason, it's definitely effective. The writing, the characterization, all of that has been really well done to make me want to know what happens next.
It almost feels like a really good, like a proper retelling of the Revenge of the Sith storyline. Like, you know, like when someone asks, "How did the Guardians die?" and it's like, well, you have the Sinestro guy who corrupted this fallen good guy, and then he ended up murdering everybody. And it
Right.
was really well written. So I wish the prequels had been like this in Star Wars. It would have been
Yeah.
so much better. But yeah, yeah, that's what we got.
And the last thing I want to comment on here is how great was Fate here. I mean, Fate just looked tremendous, and I love like, is that his first line? Like, did he not say
Yeah,
anything
does
up
he
until
normally
this?
say fuck? Does he drop
I
F
don't
bombs a
know, but
lot?
I love it. I love like this idea that he just like comes in, takes his helmet off after just sitting on the sidelines this entire time. We're all waiting for what he's gonna do, and seemingly the very first thing he actually says in the series is "fuck Fate." Takes him off. Like, that was just. I thought he looked badass. I thought he was drawn really well. Love the way they
I've
made
never
him
seen
look.
him without the mask before. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, yeah, he looks good. He's a very like he has like a very wise appearance to him, like a veteran. But yeah, he's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Definitely. So I'm looking more forward to what Fate does in the future. I think this is a really cool setup. I'm wondering how he explains this to Batman, or if Batman ever even knows. He could keep this as his own secret, and that could very well be the case. So who knows? As far as Batman knows, maybe he thinks Black Canary's dead this entire time. Guess we'll find out in year 3. So it's been a hell of a year. I mean, this. I didn't think they could beat year 1, but I think this definitely topped it. These last few issues, were really strong.
Yeah, year one wasn't bad. I thoroughly enjoyed year one. There was a lot of great highlights, but this kicked the shit out of year one.
Yeah. And we've heard good things about year 3 as well, so I'm excited. And then after that, we've heard it gets a little bit worse, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited for year 3 and see where the story takes us, and the more characters we get to see, because year 2 brought a lot of new characters into the fold, and I imagine after all the deaths we just saw, we're going to get a lot more new characters as well, and hopefully a lot more from Zatanna and Dr. Fate. On that note, guys, take care, subscribe, like the video if you like what we do, and we will see you tomorrow for year 3. Take care.
Peace.
Be with you, and also with you.
Lift up your hearts.